Hi everyone, it's Grizz. We're back again. Today we're going to do some more cleaning, but of the brake calipers, because they just need a little bit of TLC before they go back on the bike. Talking of the bike, let's have a look at it. The Hayabusa has just turned into a bit of a clothes horse for my gloves. I just put my gloves on it. So yeah, that needs sorting out. The back of the bike still needs cleaning up. I'm just trying to put it off by doing other things first. Terrible state of affairs. Back wheel's ready to go, shock absorber's ready to go, the shock absorber's ready to go, the swing arm's ready to go, the exhaust I still need to work on. We'll make that another video. The cleanup I expect will be another video as well, but today I'm going to put some attention on the brake calipers. Now, in an ideal world, I would strip these down, take them apart completely as I've done in the past, change the pistons and the rubber seals and make them like new. But A, my budget isn't allowing it at the moment, and B, I might want to upgrade these in the future to a Brembo, so I don't want to put too much money into them at the moment, but I do want to clean them up before they go back on the bike. There's new brake lines to go on as well, so that will improve your performance, but before they go back on I want to give them a clean. Also, someone has completely plastered this rear brake caliper in copper grease, which in my books is an absolute crime, because you get a bit of that go on your brake pads and it completely stuffs up your pads. I've got new pads to go in the back as well, because I've got a new brake disc on the rear wheel, so new pads to go in. So anyway, let's get on and do a bit of cleaning. I'm just going to do a light bit of cleaning. I'm going to take these apart as much as I can without actually breaking them in half. And yeah, just give them a light clean up. To do the job properly, to be honest, you need to take the pads out and do this on the bike, or have an airline and push the pistons out to clean them properly. So it's going to be a little bit of a half-ass job, but I want them cleaner than they are for when they go back on the bike. And I can always clean them up some more when they are on the bike, the front ones at least, but that back one is going to get a real proper cleaning now. So let's get it on, let's get them clean. Right, Grizz messed up. I didn't press the record button when I thought I had, and I was working on the rear brake caliper. Now, this is someone's had problems with this in the past, I can tell. It's probably froze up, as we've seen all the corrosion on the back of the bike. The rear brake caliper wasn't excluded from this. and it looks like someone's pulled the piston out with some pliers, left a little bit of marking on it, nothing crazy, and basically coated it in copper grease. But at the moment that piston in the back is really frozen up, so yeah, I'm 50-50 whether or not this is actually going to be fit for purpose by the time I'm done. Now I've got the piston out, well, the piston, I pumped the piston out that much before taking it off. I should have pumped it out more in hindsight now, and I could have got that piston out and checked it over a bit more. Now I've got this device out. What I'm gonna do, because I want to clean up more thoroughly on the inside, I can't get the piston out, so I'm going to push it back in, but I'm going to use a little bit of WD-40 just around this seal to kind of lubricate it a little bit, because I don't want it to dry out too much. I'm trying not to use the brake cleaner on the seals, very small amount just to agitate the dirt, and I'll clean it properly with some soapy water, because you don't really want to be using the brake cleaner on the actual rubbers. So I've got this contraption, it's for woodwork I believe, I've had it for ages, and it's handy for doing brake calipers, but I'm just pinching that caliper down, and that's really stuck. Can I get it to go down at all? Yeah, he's going down. Will loads of brake fluid come out maybe? I think I emptied it. It is empty. Right, let's just get a bit more WD-40 and pump it some more. Gonna push that down. Okay. It's Taffy telling me the gluten-free homemade pizza is ready. So I better go in. He's really stiff, this one. So it's not a good sign. Right. Jeez. So that is it, pushed in a bit more. I'm gonna pop this plate out. Like so. Loads of copper grease again in there, and clean all that copper grease out. But we might be looking at new piston and seal on the back. I think I'll price one up. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go eat pizza, homemade gluten-free pizza made by the delectful Taffy, looking after me, and I'll come back to this vid in a bit. Right guys, I'm back. I've got a fresh cup of tea. It is actually tea, no vodka. I'd love to tell you that I'm all staying dry, but I'm not. Went in last night, had pizza, and vodka also got involved in the equation. So another day on, and we're back out again, out to have a play with this sorry sight of a rear brake caliper. Now I've priced up a piston and seal kit. I looked on Webmoto website. I'm not sponsored by Webmoto or got any alliance to anyone or get any deals on any of these parts. So Grizz has spent a lot of money on parts out of his own pocket, which is fine, but I've spent more than I wanted to be honest, and I don't really have any spare money now left for buying a new piston and seal kit. So what I'm gonna do is just clean up all of these brake calipers and get them on the bike. What I will do is give them another clean up again once I've got them on the bike, once I've got the brake lines back on and some brake fluid in. I can push these pistons back out and give them even a better clean again, hopefully get them working so they're working normally, and use them like that for the meantime. But I will keep this a mental note that I probably do need to replace the piston and seal, and as far as I know, the front brake calipers are okay. Maybe the master cylinder could do with a rebuild on the front. There's so many things really with this bike that I hadn't actually thought it was going to need to be done. So as I've said, I've spent more than I intended to, and my budget is restricted, guys. So and I know some of you are enjoying the fact that you're actually watching a build series which is like on a normalish type of bike. It's not anything mad crazy unattainable for anyone, and I'm doing it on a real budget. So as nice as it would be, and I could, if I wanted to, just go splash out on my credit card and buy some more parts, I'm not going to right now because things are uncertain. So yeah, things are uncertain for me. My job could be at risk, and I don't know what the future holds for me and Taffy. Taffy's job could be at risk too, so I have to be sensible. Thank you everyone that sent me suggestions for fixing an exhaust, etc., buying new skins, you know, fitting it up. I can do all that myself. I've done it all in the past. If you look for my videos, I've repaired a previous Hayabusa exhaust can. No problem, I can do it, but the finances at the moment just aren't liquid enough. They're very uncertain times for all of us. I feel lucky enough to be able to go into the garage and do this and get some work done and buy the bits that I have, but I have to draw a line, and the line is drawn. So yeah, we're gonna get on with it. Gonna get this clean, get these calipers cleaned up, get the rest of the bike cleaned up, sort out that rear exhaust as best as I can with what I have here, and get the bike back together and running again. So without further ado, let's get on and finish this job and get some more going. All right, let's do it. Let's clean it. Let's clean this bad boy. Let's get rid of all this flipping copper grease. Again, I'm just going to use a very, very small amount of the brake fluid cleaner, or brake, yeah, like brake, what is it? Brake and clutch cleaner. So it's just it, but it's great for degreasing, but it also dries out the rubbers, these seals which the pistons are surrounded in, and that creates the seal in between all that brake fluid and the piston, and it pushes your piston in and out when you're pressing the brake. So it's important to keep that rubber in good condition, so it's important not to get too much of that brake cleaner, or as little as possible, on those rubber seals, because it can dry it out and perish it. So with that in mind, let's give it a clean. It's a little bit mission impossible because it needs so much cleaning, but let's get on with it. Right, so that's the kind of rear kind of done actually, although there's still a bit of copper grease coming out. I put some WD-40 around the sills here to try and drive some more out, but I don't want to get the brake cleaner in there to kind of brush it out aggressively. So I'm going to use, I've got just a solution here of some water and some fairy washing up liquid, so it's less abrasive basically than the brake cleaner. And I'm just going to put the brush in there and try get out as much dirt and all this copper grease that is left in sitting in this sill, and I will basically do this again properly when it's back on the bike and get the sill and rubbers even cleaner. But this will give me just a little head start for now. You can see it's getting a fair bit out. And I'll do that all over the brake caliper and get out any more dirt that I can, and move on to the fronts as well. Right, now I've just put soapy water on these, and if you can probably see a bit better now. What I'm doing here is literally just trying to get that brush down in between the piston and the sill. I don't know how well you can see on this, but yeah, in an ideal world we'd have this connected onto the bike, pump out the pistons and clean up the piston and the rubber as we go, and keep pumping it out and pushing it back in, cleaning up as you go. Soapy water, that's all you need to use. I'm just going to clean these up with the pistons out, just a little bit that they are, and then I'm going to push them down and then get out this clip and give that a proper cleaning, and all the rest of it a proper cleaning. But I just wanted to try and kick off some of the dirt off these. This isn't ideal doing it this way at all, needs to be on the bike, but it'll give me a little head start when I get to do it on the bike and maybe not make quite as much a mess on the bike as I am now. Yeah, you just work the tough brush around that edge, all the edges of the piston, but it's not the best job, to be honest. These pistons need to be pumped out, but it is something. Anyway, I'm talking rubbish. Right, so I just push these pistons in so they're flat, and when you do that it also forces, or can force, the pistons out more so from the other side, which is quite handy because it enabled me to clean up the piston a bit more. This isn't a proper clean up, I'll do it properly on the bike, but every little helps at this stage. So we're going to push these in as well now and clean the other side. Hopefully, if I can push them in. Need to get this out really. That's it. We got that. We'll give that a proper clean up as well. So yeah, now we can push in. Oh geez, squirter. Oh dear, sorry. Right, so that's it. They're both nice and flat now, and I can just clean up a bit more inside there. I'm going to change that water as well because it's full of brake fluid. Not really the best. Right, I've gone on and cleaned up all the calipers now. Everything's cleaned up, is all nice and lovely. As you saw, I kind of washed it down with some soapy water, dried all that off, then covered it in WD-40 and dried all that off basically, and got everything nice and clean. So there's no kind of moisture there, maybe a tiny bit in there, sat in there amongst the seals, but that is as clean as you're gonna get it given the circumstances. I will give them another further cleanup again when they're on the bike, and pump out the pistons and again get some soapy water in there again, do the same thing again basically. But that is a good thorough clean, which is easier to do in this situation, but in an ideal world we would have pumped out those pistons and done a thorough job. But that is a nice one for now. They look 100% better than they did. I've got a little bit of paint and I thought I would just paint up the words on here, so let's do that, and then I'll put the pads back in, and I'll put the only copper grease I'm going to put on will be on these little retainer threads on the actual pins on the threads, just a tiny bit. Otherwise there will be no copper grease going on them. These little plates here are kind of there to prevent well, do the same type of job basically as what copper grease would do. If you put copper grease in there, if you put too much on, it's not good, because then you could end up getting it all over your brake pads as well and making a mess of those. And yeah, it also draws in a lot of dirt and dust, which is just gonna kind of mess up your calipers basically, in my opinion. So the best way actually to kind of prevent brake squeal and all those things, why people tend to use the copper grease to prevent all this brake squeal, is just to clean them regularly. Just take them apart and give them a clean up with some soapy water. Otherwise no copper grease needed, and should be fine. You can put a little bit of copper grease on this actual on the pin, just to stop the pads from kind of seizing up on the pin. But again, if you're keeping your brakes clean, that shouldn't be an issue. The only time I use that copper grease is on that thread, and that's just to prevent them kind of getting stuck in the thread, and easier to service. Okay, right, let's paint this up. Right, that is it. That's a wrap. That is the calipers all sorted. Really happy with those. They're looking in good order. Actually, the front brake calipers are in very good condition. The pistons look really good. The seals look good. So I'm happy with that. I'll give them a bit more of a cleaning up again when I get them on the bike. The rear, we'll see how we get on with that. I've got new pads for the rear to go in as well. And hopefully we can get this one a bit better. I've also got some new bolts. I think these are called like banjo bolts, aren't they? Is that what they're called? But anyway, I've got some new ones of those as well. In the next video, we're going to be tackling this. Yeah, this bad boy needs a bit of sorting. See if we can get it a bit more fit for use without really spending any money on it. Let's see. Well, I've got a new sticker for it, but I'll come to that on the next one. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one. Stay safe. Bye.